Now, what if I told you that this PC that you see right here has components in it that are well over 10 years old? That's right, you guys. This PC back here is ridiculously old, but yet it looks as modern as any other gaming PC you would see in the market today. Let me show you how I did it. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in this video, we're going to be talking about this old timer that you see here. Now, the main components used in this build were graciously given to me from a good friend of mine who decided to build a whole new PC after almost 10 years of having these components. And also, raijintek was very kind enough to provide me some sweet upgrades for it as well. What's even more incredible is that these parts have been taken care of so well that some of these parts actually look brand new. So let's break down what is in this rig and how well it performs. So starting off with the processor, we have an OG. We have the Intel i7-860. Yes, this is one of the first generations Intel Core chips back in its day. It has 4 cores and 8 threads and was one of the top CPUs back in 2009. The motherboard is the Asus P7 P55 something rather or another. I have no idea why they gave these motherboards such crazy designations, and I have no idea how well this motherboard was back in the day. But highlights include USB 3.0 ports in the back, and that's pretty much all I can say about it. There is not even a USB 3.0 header on the motherboard. We have 16 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance DDR3 RAM in this super tall and blue colored heatsinks. The graphics card is the mighty GTX 660. This is the EVGA 3GB variant, and back then it made entry-level 1080p gaming affordable. Crazy how times have changed, right? The rest of the components are fairly modern, like the power supply, which is the EVGA B55GA, along with some super basic SATA SSD and hard disk drives for storage. The CPU cooler is the raijintek EOS. Yes, I put a AIO into a 13-year-old processor. Why? Because raijintek sent it over along with the case as well, and I kind of wanted to give it a modern touch. It has a very unique CPU block, and the pump is on the radiator as well. Now, the CPU block does have RGB around the ring, but unfortunately, because this old motherboard doesn't even have any 5-volt RGB headers, I am not able to use it in this build. The case is the raijintek Silenos. This is a super unique case that incorporates 3 tempered side glass panels, with the most unique one being where the cables are. Now, a couple things to know about this build and the case. First, I wanted to mount the radiator on the top like it would normally go into, but unfortunately the heatsink of the RAM prevented the radiator with the included fans to be mounted correctly, so I had to mount it in the front. Also, can we talk about this case? It is such a unique looking case with those massive intake fans that you see here in the front. Now, I know this isn't providing the best cooling for the AIO, but aesthetically it's enough to showcase this specific build. You do have the option of removing those gigantic front fans and have up to 6 120mm fans in the entire case, which I think is pretty cool. It has mount 4 SSDs in the front and 1 in the back, along with a cage for 3.5-inch drives. The back tempered glass panel is pretty cool looking, even though you'll probably never look at it. But unfortunately, that is where the positives end. The inclusion of that back panel introduces virtually no spaces for cable management. So much, in fact, that I almost had to force the panel back in place. It's really hard to try and organize the cables that are back there, and it honestly looks like a super hot mess. I'm glad that the panels are pretty tinted, so you really don't have to see much back there. Also, and this was a huge issue that raijintek needs to fix ASAP, is that there is an included RGB hub to connect the fans, because you can control the RGB with this button on top of the case. The problem was that the hub's exposed PCB in the back was touching the case directly, and upon turning on the PC, it would immediately shut down. Now, this is a huge error in their part, and users may think that a component may be faulty, when in reality it's actually just the RGB hub having direct contact with the metal framing of the case, causing it to short. Now, a temporary solution that I did instead of sending it all back, because this was one of the test cases that they sent out to me, was that I attached some rubber adhesives to the back to prevent that short. But they shouldn't have this hub set up like this, and it could be a huge issue down the line if it is not fixed. I already contacted them about it and are aware of the situation, and they're going to get back to me shortly to figure out what's the next fix for this in regards to that short happening. Okay guys, quick update. So they reached back to me really fast after I emailed them, which was really good. And they already said that they were aware of the issue and already fixed all of the cases that have those hubs PCB touching the case. So moving forward, this won't be an issue. I just happen to be one of the unlucky few that actually got them directly from the factory, as opposed to getting them from the website or Amazon or Newegg as well. So this won't be an issue moving forward. But besides these issues, the case actually looks really good, and for under $100, it's not a bad case. Just make sure that when you do get this case, double check the back of that PCB of the RGB hub to make sure that that issue is fixed. And honestly, try to stick to using to NVMe drives. Honestly, the less cable clutter that you have in the back in this case, the better, and it will be less annoying to cable manage later on. So now let's see some benchmark numbers and see how this old timer performs. Okay guys, you may be wondering why I only decided to test 4 games in this rig. And that's because the GTX 660 was unable to load most of the games for my benchmark run. Remember, this thing is hella old. In the games that it did run at 1080p, it still handles itself fairly well. But a card over 10 years old at this point is really hard to recommend. This goes for anywhere between $50 to $70 online, and if you are desperate, it might hold you down. But this wasn't to see if it's worth it, it's to see how well it does over a decade later. But overall, I am happy with how this build turned out and with how it actually looks. Despite the shortcomings I got from the practicality and the potential danger, which is supposed to be fixed at this point, it actually turned out really good. I am grateful to raijintek for sending this out to me, and if you guys want to check out the parts that I used, I will have them linked in the description below. But if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to hit like, and also do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and we will see you all in the next one.